Greetings, guys and goddesses. It's your god brother Amun RA. I'm here to build with you today on the topic of Amun RA. I never did a video on Amun RA before and really didn't touch on this subject but so much because I just assumed everybody knew who Amun RA was. The reason why I'm doing one today is because I got an inbox message from a good friend of mine that I've known for years who just asked me the question, who was Amun RA? They seen one of my videos and evidently I mentioned him in the video or spoke briefly on him in the video, and she was inquiring about who exactly was he. So I responded to her, of course. It was an intense build that we had that I shared with her. So for those of you who don't know our story, most of my awakened friends and people out here watching this video, y'all know who Amun RA was. Y'all know our story, the story of our past. But for those who don't, Amun RA is the name of the Egyptian sun god from the early dynastic periods of Egypt. Now, when I say dynastic periods, I mean the period of time when Egypt was in its prime or a heightened level of existence. And that's what they refer to when they mean dynastic periods of Egypt. They like to talk about the dynastic periods, but they won't talk about the periods before the dynastic period, the period of time before the dynastic periods of Egypt, or Kemet, where all of this originated from. Ancient Kemetians or Egyptians, they likened Amun RA as the god of the sun because they considered him the god of all gods, the king of kings, the most high of gods, the same way the Romans or the Greeks considered Zeus the king of their kings, the god of the most high of their gods. And that's where they get all their concepts from. Of course, everything was taken from us. But also they considered him the god of the sun because of the life-giving power, sustenance, and healing of the sun that the sun had. Where the sun, because of the life-giving power, sustenance, and healing that the sun had, were considered most powerful back then. So in order to be called the god of gods or the most high of the gods, they needed to associate Amun RA with the image of a supreme power as well. And what better than the sun, which is one of the most powerful forces or energies in our solar system. It was also understood that the symbol of the sun on him represented the rays of divine knowledge that he shared and spread to the multitudes, to the people. What many don't know is that Amun RA simply means hidden light. Hidden light. Okay, it's in you. Amun means hidden, Ray means light. That's where you get the words or phrase rays of light or light rays. So the secret to all of the answers are actually hidden in us. You know what I mean? The hidden light is inside of us. We are the answers that we seek. We are the all. We are directly connected to the source. We are part of the source because of our connection to the source, which makes us also the source as well. So look inward, not outward. The hidden light is inside of you. The reintroduction of these concepts originally from ancient Nubia, Ethiopia, long before the dynastic periods of Kemet or Egypt, were arguably the first teachings recognized globally that were, we are one with the cosmos and the divine source, being as though we are extensions of the source from which our eternal selves were created. All of the religions that came about thousands of years later were derived from these teachings, these very teachings. These divine teachings were so real and correctly aligned with the secrets of the Omniverse, or the universe as you like to call it, and creation and the creation of it, that those of us who knew this didn't want the masses to learn this knowledge because it would empower them as well. So let's get one thing straight. In order to rule the world, you have to position yourself above all others or all other would-be contenders for that position of ruling the world. So in order to do that, you need to have an advantage, or you need an advantage. The truth which empowers you was their advantage. And to take away that truth and never allow the opposition to get that truth takes away their advantage or their chance to equal the power that you have attained through that knowledge. When they take away the power of that knowledge because you've never received it, that alone ensures that you will not be able to tap into that power. And that's what we have today through the European system. They're putting out a bunch of misteachings on the truth of who we actually are, who the original beings are. And it's very important that, you know, a lot of people say, what you mean? What does it matter who's first and who's not? We all come from, you know, it does matter. Because the further away you get from the first, the further away you are getting from the original state. We all know the first time a story is told is never the same as this. The second time it's told is never the same. The third time it changes even a little bit more. The fourth time it changes. So as it's passed down, especially by those who don't have our best interests, we are getting a very distorted version of the truth, if any truth at all. And when you're not getting the truth, you are unable to tap into that truth and the power that truth holds. So all religions today are basically fragments of African etherical systems or spiritual systems from back then. The difference is that instead of being taught to practice, to align and attune the people with the cosmic DNA that they are one with, and that is in them in order to empower them, it is taught in fragments of distorted truths to keep them from knowing who and what they really are. Then being able to tap into that infinite divine power to free themselves and restore the balance throughout the world in the Omniverse as we know it and across all realms of existence. We are divine energy, and that's what the teachings of Amun RA, you know, or the concept of Amun RA was meant to give to the people. Divine pure energy emanating light rays, emanating from out of you. Okay, Europeans like to teach that our gods were self-centered and teaching that they were gods to have people worship them, and that is wrong, because it was African culture and practice to recognize the universe within yourself, be as though that you are connected to it because you're an extension of it once again, and it is an extension of you. Once you internalize that basic concept of truth and reality, then you are able to align and attune yourself properly and accordingly and tap into that infinite divine power and energy. The concept of Amun RA and the image of him was intended to inspire his people, or all of the people, to connect with the source of themselves. But you have to also pay homage to the wonders and the beauty of nectar. You cannot truly align and attune yourself with anything if you are not paying proper homage and respect to it. That's why the sun was revered as so powerful. So people would give respect and honor to the sun, which is the sustainer of all life on the planet, or one of the sustainer of all life on the planet, along with the other elements such as fire, water, and air. This was taught in ancient Africa. And that's why you have the stories and well-documented publishings of the Native Americans spiritual system worshiping the god of the mountains, the god of the water, the god of the sun, the god of the air, the god of the rain, the god of the moon, etc., etc., etc. The Native Americans, which were Africans who migrated to this land, which was part of Africa as well before the continental split of Pangaea, the supercontinent, and then the eventual continental drift, which separated Pangaea and what we now call the 7 continents. So the Native Americans were actually Africans who migrated here by foot. Some of them migrated here thousands of years later by way of ships and boats and stuff, because we were the first to do all of this. Okay, we navigated the seas, we did everything. But we didn't just get here by boats and ships and stuff. At one time, the continents were all the supercontinent of Pangaea, and we migrated here by foot like we migrated everywhere else on the land before we came to across big, large bodies of water. These teachings actually existed even before the time of Amun RA, as I stated earlier. He just reintroduced the ancient etherical or spiritual teachings of oneness with all in creation, or being part of the one big whole. So these teachings were passed down through time to Kemet, which was just an extension of Nubia and Ethiopia, which existed long before the dynastic periods of what we now know as today as Kemet or Egypt. So because Amun RA is widely known as the one who introduced this concept during the dynastic period of Egypt, is why his name is associated with the religions, with all the religions from the Afrikan Etherical or spiritual system. The proof of what I just said is at the end of most prayers, a lot of people say Amen or Amen, which is basically saying Amun or Amun, short for Amun RA. Remember that whenever you hear someone pray or say that at the end of their prayers, Amen, they are actually giving homage and paying respect without even knowing it to Amun RA. This is your God brother, Amun RA, freelance, 360 degrees of wholeness, perfection, and power. Enjoy your day.